name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, May 13, 2024, and this is episode 140. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, let's dive into my handwerk perikelen, my crafty adventures from this week. Last week I told you that it was my goal to sit here in my finished Sanna cardigan and tell you all about that beautiful piece of knit, but that didn't happen. The Sanna cardigan is not finished. I will tell you more about that later. I did finish 3 other things. One of them I'm wearing, one of them is there, hanging there, and this is the third one. 2 sewing projects and 1 crochet project. And that was not what I expected, and it was certainly not what I planned, but it just happened. And that are the most beautiful things when they are just happening. They are happening right in time. And I will tell you all about that. I have more to share, so let's start. But before I will dive into the crafty adventures, I want to share that my technical problems are solved. Last week I told you that I hoped my husband would help me, and he did. He noticed that my internet problem was really troubling me uploading my episodes, and that I was not the person who wants to solve it. So he did, and I love him because of that, and because of a lot of other reasons. But my technical problems are solved right now, so I hope it will be working out perfect this week. Let's start with what I'm wearing, or actually not with this dress, but with that one, because it all began with that dress. Both are Hinterland dresses, and that's a pattern by Liberated. You can find all the links about what I'm telling you down below, and if I forget to add something, then leave a comment. I don't reply comments, but I read them all. I give them a little heart, a heart jumping heart. Yeah, you know, I do receive your lovely words and your questions. I only answer the questions in my membership part of YouTube. So if you really want to be able to ask me questions, anything you want, you have to become a member. That's who I am. Such a person I am. But the Hinterland dress, if you watch my episodes for a longer time, you know I have a great desire to be a fantastic sewer, I guess. I'm not sure. I want all the sewn pieces. I don't know if I want to be a sewer. One of my knitting friends is a sewer, and she made me 2 Hinterland dresses more than a year ago, and since then I did start myself, but it was a disaster, and since she made the dresses for me, I'm so happy. They are perfect, and they are all I want in my dress life. And after that I did try to sew myself, and I did finish 2 dresses, and they are okay. I'm learning, but they are okay, and they are wearable, and I do wear them with a lot of love. So my sewing muscles are growing, but they grow quite slowly, and the main reason for that is that I hardly ever sew. You need practice for growing muscles. Yeah, that's a thing. But I do love to wear linen skirts, and I have quite some. All my linen skirts, almost all, are from Simply Grey Life. There's a lovely Dutch little shop around the corner, and with a lovely shop owner, and I order my skirts at her shop always. So that's very nice, but my skirts are showing signs of wearing out. Do you say it like that? I wear them a lot. I own them quite a while, and yeah, you can see that because they are used quite frequently. So I need to think about new skirts, and I was thinking, do I want to buy or do I want to sew? And I'm still a wannabe sewer, so I decided I wanted to sew them. The problem is I really love my sewn projects and I really love the finished objects, but I don't really love the process of sewing yet. I am working too sloppy, too rushy. I am always in a hurry, and I'm not a very neat sewer, and it is always happening, and I'm making a lot of mistakes, and I don't really I enjoy the process, but I do enjoy the finished object. So I decided I want to sew a skirt, and I was looking for fabric, and it's quite hard to make a good fabric choice because it's all about quality and sustainability, but it's also, in my case, about the money, because I can find very beautiful fabrics which are from a good quality and which are very sustainable, but they are also quite expensive, and it's a bit I don't know, because I know you need good materials. Good materials will increase your success on a piece, and that's when you're working with when you are knitting or crocheting. Good needles, good yarn will increase the chance the finished object will be good. And I definitely believe that it works the same way in sewing. But it's also, it makes it a little bit more exciting, a little bit more harder to cut and sew in a very expensive fabric when you only are a beginner. I think knitting is more easy to just rip out, but sewing, I'm always afraid I will damage the fabric. I don't know. So I decided that it's okay when I do not buy the most beautiful, expensive, sustainable yarn of fabrics yet. Let me start with the cheaper ones, and it is still sustainable because I'm making my own garments, and it's not as sustainable as it could be, but we are working to it. I have a big Miss Perfect carrying along with me, and so it's always a struggle. Miss Perfect has her own opinions also about it. This is not sustainable enough, but yeah, okay, we are okay. So I ordered fabric. I don't know if it's sustainable. I don't know. It was just brown, a mix of brown linen and viscose. I don't have it with me here, but when I was searching through the web shop and I was looking to all the viscose fabric, I was curious about that because it's very light and flowy, and I was wondering, would a dress in viscose, 100% viscose, would be nice? So I was checking what they have in their web shop, and there was a lovely viscose, 100% viscose fabric with a lovely bit of a retro vintage print. And it was very cheap, so I don't think it was sustainable, but it was very cheap with quite a big discount. And I thought, okay, let me order a few meters of that too, so I can play with that fabric. And yeah, I did. So when I received the fabric last Friday, my heart jumped because the brown was lovely and also that one was lovely. And I ordered 2 meters of both because I thought that would be enough for a skirt. I don't have a skirt pattern yet. I do want to make one of the skirts from So Liberated, the same designer as the Hinterland dress, and I don't know the name, I forgot. But it's just a simple skirt with big pockets. I don't know the name, but I didn't buy it yet because my crafty budget is gone. I spent quite some money on yarns last weeks, so there's no money left for patterns, and that's okay because I don't have a hurry. I just have to wait. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of patience every now and then. But when I received the fabric, I thought, I can make a dress from this amount of fabric too, I guess. Just a plain Hinterland dress with no, how do you call it? No button band? Packet? No? What is? I don't know. I forgot the name, but not this. So I washed my fabric, and on Saturdays I asked my husband, do you think I can make a dress in one afternoon? And he said, I don't know, but more important is why should you, or why would you want it? Is it not too much stressful and in a hurry to want to finish a dress in one afternoon? But I thought, I like it. I like a challenge. I like it when I'm thinking, can I make it or not? When I'm doubting. Sometimes it's very obvious you can't make it, or very obvious you can. But when it's not obvious, there's a little bit of a sparkle in me, which is curious and want to know, can I? So I did try, and I can't. I started at 1:00 p.m. and we had to leave for a birthday anniversary at 4. And I want to say I knit like crazy. I did sew like crazy, but I didn't make it. Almost. I made it almost, but not completely. And it was okay. It was okay. I was really having fun with the dress. So I finished it yesterday. Let me grab it. And it's far from perfect, but it's absolutely wearable. You can see the fabric. It's very flowy. The first time I did try to make my own Hinterland dress, I really had a problem with the BA band. Is that how you say it in English? The facing at the inside you do with BA. And I didn't understand how it worked. And then my knitting friend Jessica, she learned me how to do it with a facing at the inside, with a piece of fabric as facing. And I am learning to do that. And every dress I do that, it works better. I'm still learning. But now I thought I did have some BA in my stash, some dark brown. I did sew quite a lot skirts for my little girls when they were little. And I knew that I saved a piece of brown BA. Although it was not BA, I discovered when I started to sew. It was, I don't know how you call it in English, but in Dutch we say paspolband. And it's just this little, the rest of the rest is hidden in the seam. But it's meant to give a little nice detail to your work. And I thought, oh, okay, it's not BA, but maybe I can do as if it is BA. And maybe it works the same. It doesn't completely, but it did work out. And I have some crinkles every now and there, which are not part of the pattern. They are part of my own creative process. And I did make some mistakes every now and then. And viscose, it's quite a thin fabric, so it's harder to sew, but it did work out. And it was my plan to make a long dress, because I have some friends with long dresses and they look adorable in their dresses. And I thought, okay, I want a long dress too. Because I think it can be very nice to cover your white milky bottle legs at the beginning of the summer. And I don't know, I just love the look. But when I made a long skirt and I was looking in the mirror, I felt very, very, maybe sad. I felt very, I asked my husband, what do you think? I felt very unhappy in a long dress. It was not... It was making my energy level lower. I don't know. I really felt so, and I didn't understand. But when I did shorten the dress, my energy goes up. I really need to make dresses knee length, just a little bit above my knee. Then it works out perfect for me. When it's longer, I'm a tiny person, so maybe that's the reason. But it's now, although my friends are also not, they are not very much taller than I am, but it's just not matching. It's very fascinating that only a few centimeters can have so much, can affect your energy level so much that when it's only a few centimeters longer, then it won't suit you. It won't make you happy. It is not hard jumping. And when you just make a little bit of a modification, then your heart can jump. And it can be the other way around, of course, but just make a little change and then the whole feeling about the garment is different. That's fascinating. So I did, and it was perfect. I have a lot of fabric for the skirt because I didn't use the pattern. I just fold my fabric in half and use that. So it is quite a big. Maybe it was better with a little less fabric, but I don't know. It has pockets because I love pockets, and you can really do this when it's hot, and it's really nice. And I didn't wear it because I had to choose between this one and this one. I will wear this one tomorrow, but it's very lovely. And yeah, I was really working in a good flow, in a sewing flow. It was one big chaos in our bedroom where I was sewing, but I was really happy, and my relationship with my sewing machine, it went very good. I always blamed my machine for the sloppy sewing stitches and whatever, but since I put my Sarah sauce over my sewing machine, I just add some stickers. So my sewing machine was blue, and I'm not a blue person, but I add all the stickers, all the brown, and I personalized it, and since then it sews perfectly. So I might commit that it was not, I can't blame the sewing machine. It was all in me. I'm sorry. But it was very lovely, and it was very nice to feel the sewing flow. And then I just was in a good flow yesterday when I was finishing it, and I thought, okay, I have another dress which I have to tackle. This dress. This is also a Hinterland dress, and it's not made by me. The Sarah sauce over it is done by me, but the dress is made by one of my other knitting friends. I have knitting friends who can sew perfect dresses. I want to be such a person too. Marleen, also known on YouTube, she has a podcast in Dutch and in English. Her name is Sunny Sea Knits. She lives at the sea, quite close at the sea, near the sea. I have to say, she lives quite close near the sea, and she can knit, crochet and sew, and I will link her down below. She did sew a dress, but she wasn't really feeling that it was her dress. She didn't feel very good in it while she was sewing, and she thought, okay, no, it's not my dress. And she asked me, is it your dress? Do you want it? So I did a quick fit. I thought it was black, and I thought, okay, yeah, it's quite a neutral. I think I like it. It was quite long. It wasn't finished yet. She was quite close to finishing, but not completely. But I love every Hinterland dress I see. So I said, oh, I would love to. The only thing I had to do was finishing the armholes and add buttons. And that was a few months ago, and it was hanging in my closet, in my wardrobe closet, no, in the place I keep my clothes. And the interesting thing is, I was thinking about it all the time. There was happening a lot in my head, but my hands were not doing anything. So the dress was just hanging there, and that's very frustrating because I wasn't sure what to do with the buttons and what to do with the armholes and what to do with the length of the dress. And then there's an interesting combination happening inside my head. At one side you have the 1001, that's how you say it. You have the 1001 options and possibilities how I could fix it. That's on one side. The other side, I have my limiting thoughts, my negative thoughts. Oh, you can't do it. It will never work out. It's not your thing. And they are getting tangled into a big knot in my head, and it's a big mess and chaos, and I don't know what to do. So there is nothing happening, and it's very busy in my head. It's really an energy leak. But the dress is not happening, and I don't like it. And it's very interesting because I learned from my knitting and crochet that I learn by doing. Some people can perfectly overthink things before they begin. They understand the pattern, they know what to do, and then they do it. And also with new techniques, I'm not such a person. I just have to start and make mistakes, look at my mistakes, think of solutions, fix the mistakes, make mistakes again, new solutions, fix it again, and over. And at the end, I did learn a new technique, and I have a beautiful garment. That's my process. But it is a bit of I'm also a perfectionist, and my Miss Perfect doesn't like to make mistakes. So she doesn't like that style of learning, and she wants to keep me far away from that learning style, far away from making the mistakes. So she's always telling me, no, we don't do that, we don't make mistakes. So it's not always in balance. And me and Miss Perfect, we are friends, but as in every relationship, sometimes there is a bit of friction, and that's okay, because friction, you can grow together when you have friction, because when you have friction, the borders, they will get softer and less sharp, and they fit in together. So we are working on it, but I'm not always aware of that process. So suddenly yesterday I thought, oh, Miss Perfect is holding me back from finishing this dress, from putting my parasols over this dress. But I had quite some trust and good sewing energy because I made that dress. So I thought, okay, let's go on. We don't give up. So I picked a dress, and it was Sunday, so I couldn't buy any buttons and at some place. The shops were closed. So I found in my stash the tools. Yeah, it's in this. I have them here. I found the tools to make fabric buttons, and you cut out a little circle of your fabric, and then you put a circle. I don't have fabric with me, but you put a circle on a, how do you say it? I don't know the English word. On a plastic thing, and then you put a little thing over the fabric, and you press the thing in the fabric, and the fabric folds on the inside. Then you put another thing with a little eye on it, and then you press all the things really hard. You push really hard, you press them together, and then you have fabric buttons. Yeah. So I'm a really bit fuzzy. So I made fabric. I searched for fabric buttons, and I wanted to make the dress shorter, because it really felt exciting to cut in something someone has made really beautiful, but the length was really too long for me. So I thought maybe I can use the leftover to create fabric buttons, but I discovered that the dress wasn't black, but dark blue, or a little bit blue grayish. It's a little bit of a hard color to catch. And I thought, oh, a blue dress is maybe a bit boring. It was very straight and I want to add a little bit of parasols. And when I was with the buttons, I thought, okay, do I have more exciting fabric to lift the dress up? And I came to this fabric, but it was a little bit, when I only do the buttons, the contrast is of course very big between the dark main fabric and the contrast fabric. So the dress also didn't have pockets. So I thought, let me sew on some pockets in that vintage fabric. I thrifted it once, and now I have very obvious pockets. But I love the balance. I love the combination of the dark fabric with the vintage flowery brown fabric, and it feels very personal. And it's, of course, it's not a neutral jurk is the Dutch word. It's not a neutral dress anymore, but it's okay. It's a Sarah dress. I feel very good. I'm wearing it today. I feel very good in it. So I'm very grateful to my friend who gave me such a beautiful dress. I'm also very grateful to myself that I give myself the trust and the time and the power to let my creative process happen, because I was really having sewing fun yesterday. I was really playing, and it was really bubbling and brushing and all my creative energy, and I had so many ideas. It was really, sometimes you are in such a flow, and it was really so nice and so heart jumping. And I realized that that's the way I love creating the most. But the interesting is, it reminds me of my knitting book. I think I told it before in the English podcast too, but my knitting book, I was a person, I love making notes, I love making to-do lists, I love keeping track of things on paper. But I also wanted to do that perfect. So every now and then I started a new book, and then it wasn't perfect, and I ripped out the pages and I started over again, or I started over in a new book. A few years ago there was the bullet journaling, which was it was very popular, and you could find all the ideas on Pinterest, and I loved the drawing and the things, but when I didn't get track of, I made a mistake. It always felt as if it was failed, and I never had a nice book because I only made mistakes in my books. And then for the knitting, I thought, okay, I really want to have a kind of a knitting diary, and I just want to do it imperfect. So instead of working very neat and detailed, I just paste in everything with, I forgot the name. In Dutch we call it plakband, the tape, the plastic tape, which you can see through. The plastic tape, I just pasted in, and I drawed, and I did right, and all sloppy and not perfect. And the fun fact was that at the end it turned out perfect. I was very surprised. How can I love something that is so sloppy and so messy? How can I love it so much? And I think this is my 3rd or 4th book. I have quite a collection, and it's really a heart jumping collection. It's really a diary, and it made me realize that I am not a person who works neat and straight and quiet. I'm a messy person. I'm a so when you do it is there is a chance that when you are working impulsive, there is a chance that it's not working out the way you want it to be, but it's part of the process. And I really learned that from my knitting books, that when I am doing it without Miss Perfect, it works out perfect. And it's making me happy, and it's a heart jumping thing. So I realized yesterday that it was working the same for my sewing process. When I was just working imperfect, I was working in a hurry, I was working sloppy. I was working messy. It was one big chaos around me, but my creativity was sky high, and at the end it worked out pretty good because I have 2 beautiful dresses. And of course, when you are looking quite close and detailed, you can say a lot about it, but I must confess that I did buy quite some dresses in store. When I looked quite close to it, they are also filled with mistakes. So yeah, and I never worried about that too. So why should I worry about my own mistakes? So it was really a good lesson. It was really a heart jumping lesson, an important lesson, and really important for me to remember. I learn by doing, and I don't learn by thinking. I know there are people who are learning by thinking, and it doesn't matter how you learn. It does matter that you accept your own learning style. So, and you don't want to be a wannabe. So that really works out pretty good for me. So that was a heart jumping moment, a heart jumping insight, and 2 heart jumping dresses. Yeah, I finished more. Actually, this was my first finished object this weekend. It's a crochet blanket. It's my granny stripe blanket. It was also an unexpected finished object. I did start my granny stripe. I didn't have any details. I didn't take my measurements. I have a Ravelry project page, but I didn't update it, so I can't really tell something about it. Only the thing I can tell you is that granny stripes, they are hard jumping. When you love crochet, you always need granny stripes in your lives, and a few months ago I didn't have any granny stripes in my life. I guess I really needed it, so I casted on a blanket, and I did use up my fingering weight yarn stash with my not so hard jumping yarns. The mainly colors I didn't really like, but I also didn't want to put them away, so it was my idea to unite them in one blanket so they can create a beautiful piece of crochet. And I was really working nice on it I was really working with a lot of fun on it, and every now and then I did add a stripe with the hard jumping color. I don't know, the colors are, you can say a lot about it. They are quite bright, and I don't know, yeah, it's absolutely okay. It was meant to be as a big one person's bed blanket. But when I was crocheting on it, suddenly, when I did my stripes vertical, I thought, this is the perfect size for a lap blanket. And also, when we are camping or sitting in the garden, it's perfect to wrap it around you. It's not too big, and you can put it on your lap, and you can even use it as a picnic blanket. It's because it's fingering weight and it's not super big. It's also not small, but you can fold it and you can quite easily bring it with you when you are picnicking and also in the caravan or in the camper. So suddenly I thought, I think it's time to finish this one. And it was also helping that I have plans. There was happening something that really want to make me another crochet blanket. I will tell you all about it, but not today, another time. But I really want to start that blanket, so finishing another one was also a very good idea. So I did finish it. I picked a brown yarn, also from my stash, for the border, and I made a really simple border. Single crochets, I guess, double crochets, I don't know. I'm always confused by the English and the American terms. In Dutch we call them vaste. It's just one of the smallest stitches. And I also love a scalloped edge, and every now and then, but with so many colors, it was okay to just have a simple border. And what I always do when I'm making a border on a crochet work is I start at the corner, because those stitches are a little bit different from those stitches. So I can try different ways for the border to check if it will work out. So when I start here, I can see this part, and when I'm sure it works out, I can make the whole way around. It is not very interesting to tell you how I crocheted it, because I think when you are making a border yourself, it's always important that you look at your work, because when you have too many stitches, it will bubble, and when you have too many stitches, it will be too tight, and you just have to search for the perfect balance of stitches. And it all depends on your yarn, on your hook size, on how you crochet, if you are a tight crocheter or loose or just plain. But I think I did some double crochets, some single crochets. Yeah, I think both are okay. Single crochets and some chains in between, and I did several tries for the perfect balance, and I did find it. I don't block my crochet blankets. I don't think it's necessary. Crochet, I always think the effect of blocking is bigger on knitting works than on crochet work. So it's finished, and I will update my Ravelry page, and I will put on the measurements and the weight, and but not today. Mondays are too busy for doing that. But it was very nice, and I'm really happy with this blanket. So I will start a new blanket soon. Okay, oh yeah, my Sanna cardigan that that was supposed to be my finished object today. I did make some progress. It's quite a big mess in my project bag. All the needles. I have the ribbing for one sleeve. I have the ribbing for another sleeve. The pattern will be released not this Friday, but next Friday. So next Monday, my cardigan will be finished. I promise, because I have a deadline now. So my cardigan will be finished, and then I will tell you all about it. But I want to show you my progress for today, because it's such a lovely cardigan. And I hope I can fit in it. I think I will. As you can see, I hope, I did finish this part. And I have to attach the sleeve. You knit the sleeves bottom up, and it has all to do with the lace pattern, the way the lace pattern is. And I was a little bit doubting I do have, you have to knit a certain amount of centimeters, and I checked Rebecca's picture, and she has a lot more repeats of the chart here than I have, and I actually love the look of her more cheats, more repeats of the chart more than my own, but I have the good length, and I'm a bit worried that it will be too long. I think it will be okay, but I will attach the sleeve before I finish this part, so I am quite sure that it fits good and the look is good, and then I will finish this part. But the reason I didn't work on it as much as I want to is because we had a long weekend here in the Netherlands, so everybody was at home and it was busy, and it was really it really asked my focus and attention, because there's happening a lot. When you are knitting the body, it's just knitting back and forth and following the chart, but you have to decrease every now and then, and you have to do a lot. So there's a little bit more quiet time and attention needed for me. So I just put this away because I have that time this week. I did other things in the weekends. I don't have all my works in progress with me here, because I also worked on my Liefs cardigan and on my sock, but I didn't. I show them another time. But the Sanna cardigan, I'm really looking forward to it. It's quite warm today. You can see I'm not wearing a lot of clothes. I'm sorry, I had to introduce you. Maybe you are shocked. I always feel a bit bared. Oh, last summer I always struggled with the word. I wanted to say naked, but it's not concealed? No, I don't know the word. Oh, I had to check it. It's always a bit with the bare arms and shoulders, making a knitting podcast, but I'm sitting at my knitting office upstairs because I'm not home alone, so I couldn't film downstairs, and it's very warm. It was quite warm this weekend. I think it's 25 degrees right now, and especially on our bedroom, it's really warm. And but this morning it was a little bit more chilly, and then when I went to the forest, I did put on my Mema cardigan. It's with long sleeves, but when my Sanna cardigan is finished, it's a perfect layer for a little bit more chilly mornings or evenings, or filming a podcast when you want to have some more clothes on. But it is getting summer, so yeah, it is also okay. I did finish one of my socks. Come on. I'm sorry. I did finish one of my socks. This is This is the Madrid sock, the first one I'm making for my mother-in-law. She bought the yarn in a yarn shop. I don't know which yarn shop actually. In a yarn shop in Madrid 2 weeks ago when they were there. They were on a city trip with our son, and I told her to bring some yarn if she wants memory socks. I told everybody, but only my mother-in-law wanted that. So I was knitting those socks, and I really was struggling with my perfectionism. It is a bit of a theme the last weeks. I don't know. I thought we were okay, but maybe Miss Perfect is bored. Maybe I should think of a good challenge for her, so she can put all her focus on that one instead of bothering me all the time with details. No, I don't know. That's not what I want to say. It doesn't matter. So I started over this sock more than 6 times with all different patterns because nothing really worked out and nothing was really hard jumping. So at the end I thought, okay, maybe this is just want to be a plain sock. So I did knit it as a plain sock, and I had a little bit of a hurry because all my sock I have two 2mm sock needles because I knit my socks on those since a while, and I wanted to cast on a very special third sock. So I thought, okay, let me finish one of the socks and then I can cast on the other one. So I finished this one, and when I was at the bind off, and then I put it on to check the fit. And I saw a leather at the sides again. So I was really, oh no, I forgot to tell something. I was knitting this sock in a rib sock last Monday. Oh yeah, There's happening so much in my knitting life. I was filming my knitting podcast last week, and then I was knitting in a rib stitch, and I discovered a leather. And when I was editing my episode, I thought I don't want a leather, and I frocked the sock, and I started over again in a plain sock. But you didn't know already. You didn't. I didn't tell you, so I'm sorry. I forgot that detail. I'm telling so much always that I don't know what I told to who. I'm sorry. So I did start over again, and it was okay. But again, I had a leather, and I know there are some ways to avoid leathering when you are knitting magic loop, but I actually never have leathers. That's not really a problem. And I thought, why is it a problem now? And I could think of 2 reasons. One of the reasons was I changed to 2mm shock needles, a tighter gauge. Maybe that's something I changed lately. And the other reason was maybe I don't knit plain socks so often. I most of the time I do a rib stitch, and when I do plain socks I make stripy socks, and then the leathering is also not very obvious. I don't know. But what I did know is that I didn't like the leathering. So how could I fix it? And then I thought, okay, let's make a braid. So I made a braid instead of a leather. And I think instead of an annoying detail, it is become a very nice detail. I learned making those braids from Lerke, from FiberTales, from one of her patterns, the Hydra headband. There's also a braid involved, and it's very nice and easy and fun to do. I won't explain, it's in the pattern. I think it's a common knitting technique. But it's really fun, and it was a bit messy on the heel because I had every first and every last stitch of my needle, and for the shadow wrap short row heels there were double stitches involved, and they are not nice to drop and fix. So I had to improvise a little bit, and when I do it again, I will think of a way to avoid it. I already have a solution. But I couldn't do it with this way. So the points for the heels are a bit messy, but it's okay. I love the braid right now, and it's very fun. So the second sock has to wait. Normally I don't have a second sock syndrome. I always finish my socks right after each other. But now I have a third sock I really want to cast on with a special reason. And I actually won't go into detail yet, because it's a little bit of a surprise. But I can show you the sock. It's not a special sock yet. It is special to me, but you can't see it. Ooh, it's a little secret. This is a special sock, and it has all to do with something I will organize. I have a very fun, how do you say it, activity? I don't know. I will organize something, and this sock is part of it. It sounds a bit mysterious. I always wanted to be a mysterious person. Maybe I'm a bit mysterious now. It does include a save the date. I can say the save the date. It is something I will organize. It is in the Netherlands, but maybe you live quite close to the Netherlands. Maybe it can be fun for you too. If you love crocheting or knitting, it definitely will be fun. So the save the date, I will share it with you today, just in case you are interested. But if you want to, you can put a circle on Saturday, 23 of November 2024, because then something nice will happen. And I will share more details with you quite soon, I guess. I first have to knit that sock, then you know. I will keep you updated, but not today. It's still a little secret, but it's a heart jumping secret, really. It makes my heart jump very high and very fast. Okay, I was working on my swatch. It was my plan to first finish my Sanna cardigan. It's a test knit for Rebecca, and then start the test knit for Lerke, for FiberTales. But then I realized that there is quite some straight knitting involved for the test knit for Lerke, and I thought, okay, I just have to make my meter, so let me cast on yet, so I just can do that part. But then I was swatching, and I started with the Fonty Boheme. It's very nice yarn. It's cotton with linen. It's feeling very good. I think this is. I am knitting the other one with Sandnesline, and there's viscose involved, and that gives it a cool effect, but it also makes the yarn a little bit more shiny and slippery. This is more cotton feeling, a bit rougher. I think it's okay. It's not forgivable yarn, but I must confess my swatch is pretty neat, so that gives me hope. The only thing is I did start on 3.25mm needles, but I didn't get gauge, and then I switched to 3mm needles. I didn't get gauge too, and then I realized I have to go down to 2.5. Oh no, this was 2.75 already. So this is 2.75, so I had to go down to 2.5mm needles, but I only have one pair of them, and they are knitting the sleeves of my Sanna cardigan. So I do have to finish that cardigan first, and then I can start swatching. So I hope to start the test knit later, not later today, later this week, but it will work out. I also received another beautiful project bag from a Dutch project bag maker. She is so generous to me. I don't know why I deserved it, but she made me several project bags. This one is also made by her. I think this is my favorite from this moment. I just love the fabric and the size. But my little girl, my youngest daughter, is very involved with crocheting at the moment. She crochets the most beautiful things. I shared a little bit at one of my episodes because she does sell them, and it's very hard jumping. She's making such beautiful things. It's really nice. And she makes all the kawaii things with eyes. You can put eyes on everything, and everything is looking, oh, especially when you are 14 years old. So Rachelle, the Dutch knitting, the project maker, she's also a knitter, but the Dutch project maker, she contacted me, and she said, can I send you some eyes for your daughter, that you can put on the crochet work? And she did that before. It's very generous and very lovely. And she said, can I send you something for your daughter and her friends? I said, are you sure? Yeah, I have a lot. She said, it's okay, I have a lot. So she did share a lot of eyes. It was a very big amount of eyes, and it was a hard jumping moment for my girl, because she came home from school and she saw I did put it on the table, and she saw it, and her eyes were getting big of all those eyes. So that was lovely. But when I opened the package, my eyes were getting big because there was something in it for me too. It was another project bag, and it was so lovely. And Rachel, she did put a note with it, and she said, this fabric reminds me of you, and I think it's a perfect camping fabric for in the camper or whatever. And it is vintage fabric. It is an old bed sheet. And when my husband saw it, he said, oh, I owned such a bed sheet when I was little. So it's very lovely. So yeah, hard jumping moment. It's the perfect size for a project bag, and it's really nice. And she makes such beautiful things. I don't know if she ships overseas, but I will put a link to her Instagram and her web shop down below, so you can check and maybe ask her if you are interested. But it's really good quality, and vintage fabric are hard jumping to me. Yeah, so that was nice too. Okay, I think this was it for today. I have the feeling I forgot something, but I don't think it is. I did. No, I think it's okay. Yeah. This is a normal week. We had a long weekend last weekend. We have a long weekend again next weekend, but that will be the day off on Monday. So this week is quite normal, and that's okay, because I'm a routine lover, and my routines always get messy with all those days off and holidays, and that's okay. I enjoy them too, but the routine part of me is really happy that we have just a normal week with our normal things. And I hope I have a lot of knitting time. I really will finish my Sanna cardigan. I'm looking forward to that, and I will tell you all about that next week. Okay, that was it for today. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely week too, with a lot of heart jumping moments. If you can't find them, create them, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!